foxy fox. Suspect, Sly. Species, red fox. Location, fox den. Sly lives closer to the main house, and not too far from the Enable schoolhouse. They have tons of play toys in their pen. Sly lives with Possum and Silver Fox. They all seem to get along, but Sly definitely ruled the roost. Ace approached the fox den with trepidation. He knew in his heart of hearts that Sly was the villain. He had seen him eyeing that hat from afar whenever Laura walked past the den. Now that Ace knew Sly gets out at night, it was all the proof he needed. "Hello, Sly," Ace yelled. "What are you doing here, squirrel breath?" Sly snarls. Ace was taken back. That wasn't very neighborly. "There was a theft last night. My hat was stolen, and I thought you might know something about it." Ace knew the second those words came out of his mouth that they were the wrong words to say. He didn't mean for it to be accusatory, but it was too late. The words were out, and there was no do-over button to push. He saw the hair on Sly's back stand up. His teeth were clenched. He spit flew out of the sides of his mouth when he spoke. "Are you accusing me of taking your ugly little hat?" Then Ace heard a growl, "Urgh," and then a howl like nothing he'd ever heard before, and it made the ground shake. He knew he was in trouble. His only hope for escaping was to get to Narnia before Sly could make it out of his cage and over to him. Ace had to take 3 leaps for every step Sly took. Ace took off running. He heard the clatter of Sly making his way out of the den. The race was on. Would he make it to the tree in time? The tree was coming into view. It was getting closer and closer. He thinks he had enough speed to leap to the bottom tree branch. He ran. He jumped. He reached out his paws, and he felt the tree bark under his pads. His claws dug deep into the branch. His tail wrapped around the branch, and he pulled himself up and quickly climbed the rest of the way up the tree. He looked down and saw Sly pacing below the tree. His heart was beating so hard, he thought it might knock him off the tree branch. Now what was he going to do? He was stuck in the tree with Sly just below him. He couldn't get down. He looked around. He noticed the woods were dense with trees. Some trees were taller than others. If he could climb to the taller tree, he could glide from tree to tree until he reached safety. But where was safety? Just then he noticed Wednesday, the camel, was walking near the edge of Narnia in the Reno area. They named her Wednesday because every day is hump day at the ranch. If he could get to that tree before the camel walked under it, he could glide down and land on the camel's hump, which would take him to safety. So off he went, bounding from tree to tree, gliding down as he needed, climbing higher in order to glide down again. He was now at the tree near the camel. He looked down. There was Sly. He had tracked him the whole way. Slowly. And now we're talking slowly. The camel approached. Camels are not known for setting land speed records. Ace leaped off the tree, gliding, soaring, adjusting his glide by collapsing one side and stretching out the other. He made a perfect landing. He had improved so much since this morning's landing. He was quite proud of himself. He didn't have much time to enjoy his victorious landing. Every time the camel took a step, the hump moved. Side to side he went. He had to hang on for dear life. This was not going to work. He had to find another safe place. Maybe a house? A safe house! That's it! He would head to the Enable classroom. The students loved him there. They were so happy to see him. He knew he would be safe. Down the camel's back and up the nose he ran. He made another daring leap and hit the ground running. He was fairly certain he had escaped without Sly seeing him. But as he approached the schoolhouse, he could hear footsteps running behind him. Fortunately, the door was ajar. Ace crossed the threshold and ran in. "There are my students! Hooray, I'm safe," he thought. "Hello, everyone," he yelled. But instead of hearing, "Look, it's Ace," he was hoping to get upon his entrance. He was met with screams. Ace knew what that meant. Sly was right on his heels. Ace ran to the nearest student and jumped in her lap. She stood up and screamed. Ace fell to the ground. He darted left, then right. Sly was right behind him, but not as agile. Ace couldn't outrun Sly, but he could outdart him. Ace darted out the door and headed to the pond, climbing under and over everything he could. His plan was to get Sly to the pond. Ace would run up to the roof of the fishing pier and glide to shore. The fox would be unable to chase him because he couldn't swim. He finally made it to the pier, but by this time, he was exhausted. But he remembered his mother's words to never give up. He put his plan in motion. He ran to the end of the pier, up the bench, up the pole, and onto the rooftop. Looking down, he saw Sly pacing back and forth. He made a gallant leap, spread his skin wide like a kite, and glided slowly down. Wait a minute. Did I miscalculate? Am I dropping too quickly? Am I going to make it to shore? The answer to his questions came as splash!
Yes!
He tried to flap his bat-like webbed skin, and sure enough, he was moving slowly to shore. Before long, he felt a little dirt under his paw. Then enough to stand. He was cold, wet, exhausted, but he was alive. He looked to find Sly. Sly was still on the pier, looking up at the roof. He must have missed the fact that Ace had jumped off. He had outsmarted and outdarted the crafty fox. He was quite proud of himself. It was time to head back to the cage for dinner. Sad and disappointed that he had not found his hat. He knew he had done all he could do for tonight. Some people don't know this about foxes. Males are called dog foxes. Females are vixens. Baby foxes are called pups, cubs, or kits. Foxes live in dens. Foxes can hear a ticking sound 40 yards away. Foxes are active at night. Foxes can run 30 miles per hour, and foxes are members of the dog family. Like dogs, they are omnivores.